So when your kid is learning how to walk, the first time the baby starts to walk or tries to walk, chances are that baby is going to fall down.
Yeah.
Where do they fall? They fall on their butt. When they do start to walk, they're constantly falling. If you live anywhere up north during this time of the year, slip and fall on the ice. If you play a sport that happens to be slippery, like hockey, for instance, how many times do you think you fall on your butt? And so all of those impacts over time can cause these problems to be here. But a lot of us, we don't think, hey, I've fallen on my butt a million times. Maybe there's something to do with my digestion.
Yeah,
I don't think that.
That would not be my first thought
No,
at all.
No. And so what happens is you say, I have some digestive issues all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, is it all of a sudden, or has it been kind of leading up this whole time? And now it's just so big of an issue that you're like, oh, it's all of a sudden. And you go in and they take a look at you and they say, no, I can't find anything. Let's do a colonoscopy. No, I can't find anything. Let's do a couple of scans. No, I can't find anything. Well, try this medicine or try that or try this. None of it's working. I don't know. I can't find anything wrong with you. Maybe it's in your head. And I think that's kind of a disservice too, because now you're telling me I don't know enough about my own body that I'm wrong, but I'm telling you I have an issue, right? So there's a lot of things that, and when patients are here, we have the nerve charts everywhere. I just had this conversation the other day. A lady was in with her son. He's an athlete, school age athlete. And she was saying, he's growing up. He's had issues with sport-induced asthma, breathing issues, and he's always had an inhaler. Even though we came here for something entirely different, he doesn't necessarily need his inhaler anymore.
Yeah.
And I just noticed the other day, we haven't refilled it. And I don't exactly understand why that is. And I take him over to the nerve chart. And I say, okay, well, I'm finding an issue here and I'm finding an issue here. Now this one, let's trace it and let's see where those nerves go to. We'll look at that. They go to your diaphragm, they go to your lungs. So by correcting those things, just getting the interference out of the range of motion in the musculoskeletal system and taking the pressure off the nervous system and the blood flow to those areas is enough to restore regular body function and the ability to heal. Does this happen every case? No, it doesn't happen every case. But I will tell you, it's a non-invasive way of making sure your nervous system and musculoskeletal system work correctly. Nobody has ever argued the point that said properly functioning nervous system is a detriment to the way that I live. That's not how that happens. When we make sure the nervous system, this stuff is out of the way and it's working properly, if you still have issues, maybe digestion, maybe breathing, maybe fertility, maybe whatever, we've checked off the easy stuff. And now your specialist for that, fertility doctors or whatever, can really start to dive in and investigate what's the real cause, because we know it's not musculoskeletal. And it's certainly not neurological from that aspect. So what's going on here? So we can help the MDs and the specialists out there by saying, hey, we've checked all of this stuff. And now you can get in your wheelhouse and figure out what's going on here. Or a lot of times we can help those that they're having patients come in and they're not getting anywhere and they can't find any problems. They do refer them to us. And when we take a look at them, a lot of times we can help reduce or resolve a lot of those issues because it was a musculoskeletal imbalance because of a spinal subluxation that affected the neurology, that affected the thing. And we were able to untie that knot. And so if I have to work with an ortho or a neuro or a gastroenterologist or a podiatrist, any of those things, I will work hand in glove with those people. And we will work together so that we get the patient better by working together. Yeah. I will not sit there and say, well, they shouldn't prescribe you drugs because they don't know what they're looking for. Just like they shouldn't say, you shouldn't go see those people because they're a bunch of quacks. There are good and bad in every profession, and you should do your own due diligence to figure out who good and bad is. We have our own ideas, and we have our own standards or measurements that we like to do. And so we went over instrumentation, a static palpation, motion palpation, visualization. Again, this goes on the whole time, right? I'm watching from the moment my patient comes in. How are they walking? How are they sitting down? How are they standing up? How are they presenting? High shoulder, head tilt, pelvic imbalance, toe in, toe out. Are their ankle or their foot dropped in on the one side? Does it look like they're walking funny on their just generalized gait? I'm looking at all of it. I want to see any indifferences because it all gives me some pieces. We have to have a lot of these arrows pointing at the one thing before we say, okay, this is what it is.
And that's also how it's scientific, right?
That's right.
Going through the scientific method, at first you have like your hypothesis. You have a question that you're investigating. That'd be like a patient presenting. and then you formulate some sort of objective test that you're going to do.
Yep.
You find that out. Okay, what does that give you? And then you go through the rest of the steps. And if you don't have those objective measurements, and
Right.
let's say they're subjectives, their pain, their point tenderness, their whatever, their perception of how they're living, if that doesn't correlate with what you think you are finding, then how does that all make sense?
Right.
You have to
How,
have as much data as possible in order
right.
to figure out, oh, there is some sort of objective improvement, and this is why.